अपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरतेन विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति हृदयं मनोरथः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु करामितरानपीक्षमङ्कृत्वयं निगमशाखिशिखाप्रवालं हैरम्बमम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रहं विघ्नाद्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरन्नः सर्वेषां स्वागतम्. Welcome to the positive psychology session. So, in the 47th onwards, we will see about meditation. This is the 48th eighth shloka positive psychology session. So in this, we actually see a certain concept of positive psychology called auto suggestion. It is an initiation. Basically, we saw that thinking about a thought repeatedly in the head, it brings about a certain change within us. So we are trying to understand the science within that. So when we talk about this concept of auto suggestion, there is a um, there's a documentary uh, which was which was available on Amazon Prime probably. Now I'm not so sure, but it's a documentary called Human Life. It was available on Origin. Let me check. Mm, yes, Human Life. There are four parts to it, if I'm not wrong. In that four parts, it speaks about how that single cell evolves into, how a complete human being, how that human life is created. Um, mm, human being, probably. Okay. So in one, I will give the name. I would just like to confirm it. In that, what happens is that there is this the evolution when we see it has this wasing from a single cell. That is, we are talking about the sperm and the ova getting fused. It forms an embryo, then it fuses to the endometrial layer. It gets thick, then it becomes a fertilized egg. Then it starts to grow. It becomes a fetus. Then from that fetus, it becomes a baby, and etc. etc. It moves on. Then it takes birth. So is the complete evolution of that single cell. Now, when we talk about this, there is a speciality that is to be understood over there. What is that? There is this, the single cell starts to multiply. That is the embryo. In that embryo, it starts to multiply and it starts to clump up. So single cells become two, three, four, five. All of them are of the same nature. When it reaches, I think, around 14 weeks or something, then there is a auto suggestion, that kind of instructions that comes to it, where those clumps of cells that it has become a, we call it as pinda at that point of time, a mass of cells, they start to separate on their own, and that group starts to form something different by itself. That is, it starts to become a muscular tissue, it starts to become skeleton, it starts to become epithelial cells, it starts to become some other cells. So like this, it starts to form whatever is required of the human body. So the genetic material, the sanrachana, what they say, the framing, that it gets from DNA, the DNA that is getting passed. But why at that point of time itself? Why not at any other point of time? How does the body recognize that it at that point? Because obviously, the cells that have been developed at 14 weeks, whatever the multiplication that has happened, it is not enough to completely form the baby, all the organs, etc., etc., etc. Obviously, before also it would not have had sufficient cells to do it. Why exactly at that point of time this instruction is being generated? That is a question that's still, I think, being human. Okay, the name of this thing is Being Human: Life Lessons from Frontiers of Science. That is a um, uh, that is the name of the documentary. So in that, this conversation comes up. I think maybe in the second part or the third part. So in that, when we see that, when we try to understand that, so there is this concept of auto suggestion that flows into our mind. Now, what is this auto suggestion? Frankly speaking, it is just a suggestion that we are trying to, an instruction that we are trying to infuse into our subconsciousness to impose on our physical self through a process of affirmations. That means I am going to start thinking, okay, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. That is not going to bring about any changes in me physically immediately. That is going to bring about a change in my subconsciousness where it will start to understand what Brahman is. And then it will start, like, for example, Brahman is, it does not get affected by the physical stuff, etc., etc. Then it starts to push instructions to my physical body to act in that way. That means it will start saying, oh, if it is too hot, don't consider the heat. Be indifferent to it. Don't get too emotional. Don't get too attached. It will understand what is the concept of Brahman, and then it will start to, because the affirmation was I am Brahman. So what it starts doing is it starts to send certain instructions to my physical self to bring about that change, that the nature, whatever is the characteristics, it will start to repeat it or imitate it. So this particular process is called as auto suggestion. So this auto suggestion is extensively used, as we know, where the example itself was that I am Brahman. We know that when we sit and when we meditate, what we contemplate, what thought we are contemplating. So for that point, this auto suggestion is very important, or it is a way, probably a very simple explanation in terms of positive psychology, why through meditation we are thinking that way. So this is a concept that has been shown. We will speak more about this, trying to understand how it is changing us in the next part of it. But this auto suggestion is a little difficult to understand, but easy to experience. One initiation for that is through an affirmation that we will see in the upcoming session. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण मही महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।